In June 2007, I moved from Colombia to Canada with zero English. I had no idea about how to live in the United States or Canada. I was a chubby kid, was not really accepted in the social circles, and really just didn't feel good about myself. And it came to a new country where everything was just new, everything was just culturally different, and I had to make new friends, being able to overcome all these challenges that I had as a kid. I went to school, I graduated from engineering, then I got hired in the States. I ended up working for Chrysler, a big corporation that gave me a corporate job. And then I realized at some point that I needed to go into entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship was a thing that changed my entire life. And specifically, working with real estate wholesalers and investors with their marketing, with their sales and their business. Now we're making $1 million in profit, living in a high rise in Miami. And I'll tell you about all the challenges and all the things that I did in order to get where I am right now, so you can actually do it too. When it came to this country, I had zero English and I literally had to learn it from scratch. As you can tell, my accent is not the best, but what matters is that I can actually communicate with people and actually close a lot of deals. So at the end of the day, English was something that I had to overcome. So if you don't know English or you don't know something, gain confidence and ultimately try your best, even though you're gonna fail. And that was my first ever challenge here coming to this country. Even though I had no English and I came in without skills, I was bullied. I felt so bad about myself. I was able to get multiple jobs in Canada. And when I started driving Uber right after graduation, I realized that Uber was one of the biggest opportunities that would propel my life and propel my career. And I'm gonna tell you why. When I was in Uber, I was able to gain a lot of customer service experience, a lot of customer success experience, a lot of sales and dealing with difficult people or dealing with objections. There was a lot of times where I was driving people in Uber and I had to handle their situation because they did not agree on the things that I had to do. And this is very similar to what you have to do in business. And I took all that time when I was driving to listen to podcasts, audiobooks, take courses online, and ultimately talk to people to find out how they were making so much money. Because when you drive in Uber, you're gonna pick up a lot of famous people, doctors, entrepreneurs, but all of those conversations that you have with them, you get to learn something. So I ended up having no money, driving for Uber, and I got hired in the States. And this was the second opportunity that I got to make something out of my life. And let me tell you that it was not easy, guys. I actually reached out to a couple companies. I was getting rejection after rejection after rejection. I wanted to work in a big company, in a big corporation, but I had no options. I created a list of companies that I could potentially work with, and I cold called their sales department, their engineering department, in order to see if I could get a job out of it. And there was one guy that actually allowed me to get my first ever job as a sales engineer. And this is ultimately what gave me the first ever experience. Doing this, I literally gained the skill of cold calling and not caring about what other people think about me. Even though I'm gonna get rejected 100 times, at least one person was gonna say yes to me. And that's what happened. I got my first ever job after driving for Uber that allowed me to have experience working as a sales engineer, where I had to sell doors. Even though it sounds super boring, I had to sell metallic doors and I had to create customers. I was able to do different things for this company that lasted 4 months. After getting my first jobs and getting a job in engineering, getting a job and working for Chrysler and all these big companies and making a lot of money as a professional, I realized that something else was there. At that time, I was making $80,000 to $85,000 a year. And to me, that was a lot of money. I really did not know exactly what a lot of money was until I got into entrepreneurship. You can do a lot of things with $85,000 as a 23 years old. I was working really hard, but then we realized that there was something missing. And that something was being able to be free with my time and do whatever it is that I wanted to do. There was a lot of things that I wanted to do while I was holding my job that I wasn't able to do because I had to go from this 9 to 6 and sometimes stay later than that. And it was just making me feel incarcerated. At the time, I was trying to do everything so good for the company that I was working with, but I would get so bored really quickly. So it was 3 or 4 months in, and I would master that job. And after that, there was no more growth. I just wanted something else. And that's when people like Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, and all these people that were just putting a lot of YouTube content and podcast content, I realized that I could do something so much better than just holding an $85,000 job. That's when I read my first ever book, which is the 10X Rule. And the 10X Rule changed my entire mindset. What I thought about life was totally different. I wanted to make money, I wanted to party, I wanted to feel comfortable, I wanted to live in a good place. But after reading that book, I realized that there was way more that I can do. And I started listening to all these podcasts and YouTube videos while I was at work. After work, I would drive back home. Instead of putting music like a lot of people do, I'll put a great podcast, I'll put a great course. And all of this helped me to create a really good foundation about entrepreneurship. So there was this crucial time in my life where I had to go into self-improvement. Like I told you, the 10X was the first book ever that I read. Then I read books like Be Obsessed or Be Average that really helped me self-improve and ultimately train my brain. And if you make yourself better every single day, 1 year from today, you're gonna be way more ahead than anyone that is not training their mind. So at that time, I decided I'm gonna become 1% better every single day. And I knew that I needed to take action faster, and that's why I started exploring different options of entrepreneurship. Seeing all these people that were talking about real estate, Amazon, FBA, drop shipping, I decided to pursue almost every single one of them. And trust me, it was not a good option for me to do that. If I were to suggest anyone that is trying to pursue entrepreneurship, you could potentially try and see which one is the best for you, but you have to stick with only one. So at the time, I decided to do Amazon FBA plus wholesaling. If I were to do everything all over again, I'll just stick with only one. And I would invest all my money with the right mentor, with the right course, with the right coaching and mastermind, and I would go all in only one. But the good thing is that because I was able to see different options, I was able to see what I really liked. And for Amazon FBA, funny enough, I was selling masks way before COVID happened. I actually lost money rather than making money. However, I did invest into this one course that cost me $800. And to me, $800 was so much money at that time that I felt like crying after I actually made that purchase. But I knew that it was gonna be my first ever investment in myself, and that course literally taught me everything: how to set up an LLC, how to run Facebook ads, how to set up my e-commerce store, how to choose a product, how to understand my target audience, how to ultimately sell, how to create funnels. So it was such an in-depth course that gave me a foundation in order for me to do wholesaling or marketing, SMMA, and all this stuff that I'm currently doing right now. So I ended up ditching the FBA option because one of my friends actually saw me that I was doing FBA, trying to sell this $50 to $100 product, and I was going nowhere. So my friend told me, look, I'm actually creating a lead generation company and I want to take you with me. At that time, I had no idea what lead generation really was. So I was not really interested at first, but then I started going to wholesaling webinars and I started going to flipping webinars, doing real estate webinars, and all they talked about was lead generation, sending direct mail, doing cold calling, SMS marketing, even driving for dollars, which to me was really inefficient or ineffective. So I went ahead and decided to do it in a whole different way. He told me that he was making about $1,500 per client. And to me, $1,500 per client per month was a lot of money at that time. He gave me a free Facebook course from a guy called Ben Malol. I devoured that course and I was able to understand how to generate leads for real estate agents. And then he also said, let's also do this for gym owners. And let's also do this for personal trainers. Let's also do this for lawyers. All of this was done through Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising. Everything that I learned was using online marketing. I had no idea how to do proper SMS marketing, direct mail, cold calling, how all these wholesalers do. All that I focused in that time was to pay Facebook, because Facebook uses their algorithm to show the advertising to our potential clients and attract them into a lead form or a funnel so that we can get their information, follow up with them, and potentially close the deal. So with my friend, we started splitting the deal 50-50. I would get all the clients, I would manage all the clients, I would do every single campaign for the client, I would take care of all the concerns, and he will just give me all the systems, all the education, and everything that I needed in order to fulfill this client. So to me, it was a way for me to learn, but at the same time, earn money as I was always doing something new. Remember, at that time, I was holding a job. I had to sell metallic doors where I was making probably $85,000 a year, plus this $1,500 splits that I was doing per client. And I was able to get 2, 3, 4, 5 share clients with my friend back in the day. And to me, I was just living life. There was a huge problem though. I knew that this was not sustainable forever. But at the same time, I did not want to realize because I was very comfortable. So it was March 23 in 2020 when the entire world changed. That's when COVID actually hit. The entire world stopped working. No one was able to go out. And you know that there was masks everywhere and everyone was getting laid off. People were losing their job. Businesses were closing. I actually lost my job. The only thing that I had was a side hustle. And at that time, I also started losing clients. Back in 2019, I had gone to a seminar which was about wholesaling real estate. I tried all these methods that people were suggesting, going to auctions and just cold calling people after skip tracing all this data. I felt like there was a better way to do it, and I had learned all these Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And I said to myself, why are people not leveraging this method? So I decided to take everything that I had and everything that I learned about Facebook ads, and I posted in one Facebook group saying, I know how to generate motivated sellers. I do this really well with Facebook. Who needs help? And a bunch of people actually commented. But at that time, the difference is that I did not know how to properly do a sales process, how to properly sell people. So I decided to give away my services basically for free. And I told them that I would do a trial of 1 month to show them what I could do for them. I grabbed my first ever client, which was a cash buyer, this guy from Argentina that needed to find more houses and needed to sell it to foreign investors in Argentina. We started running Facebook ads for his business. It started working so well that months after, he was able to buy 24 properties with just $9,000 on Facebook ads. And this is the moment when I realized that this is the niche that I wanted to focus on. I was working my ass off. I was trying to figure it out. I knew that I needed to do something different than what I was doing before, because what I was doing before was a side hustle. So I started to reverse engineer the people that were doing it really, really well. And I saw several people that were amazing at running successful SMMAs. One of those guys was Joel Kaplan. I went into their Facebook transparency page. I realized that they were running Facebook ads, that they also had an agency at the time for chiropractors. And I basically reverse engineered the entire funnel. By booking a call with this chiropractor agency, I was able to see the entire flow map and customer experience that they would give to their leads as soon as they see the ad, they book the appointment, they follow up with me through email and text messages, and they do a sales process. And forgive me for doing this, but at the time, my partner or MirrorBlock was the one that was closing for this chiropractor agency. And I remember just going to this demo presentation. I pretended to be a chiropractor. It was actually something that I thought I was gonna get caught on, but he gave me the entire pitch where he first did a discovery portion of the call. Then after he did a discovery, he did an entire pitch. He gave me his demo presentation about how he's gonna help me get more chiropractor clients and so on. And I basically grabbed everything that I learned from that funnel hacking that I did, and I plugged and played it into the agency that I was building. So after that, I grew my business from making $6,000 a month all the way to $25,000. But at the time, I decided that I needed some extra help. That's when I reached out to Joel Kaplan and I told him that I was basically ready to join his program. So he had a program called Agency Lab that actually helps SMMA or people that want to get into SMMA agencies to scale their company to multiple 7 figures. And that's when everything really changed. I realized that what I needed was support, people that tell me exactly what to do, have some sort of blueprint, but most importantly, learn about sales. That was the only thing that I was lacking. And in the program, they told us that one of the key components of making your company successful was going to be running paid advertising. I was running paid advertising for my clients, but I was not running paid advertising for myself. When I hit $65,000 a month, that's when I said, F it, I'm gonna go and run paid advertising. I remember going to Detroit and being in front of a really ugly house. I was scared, and I decided to take some pictures, some videos, and doing an offer. And that was the ad that really started to grow my business, because people now started to recognize me more online. They started to see me more as an authority, and I was starting to get more booked appointments. And because I was also learning sales under Agency Lab, I was able to close more deals. And I remember in 2021, a little short after I joined the program, I hit my first $100,000 per month. And I remember, because I have this prize, I have this award of $100,000 a month. And when I got it, I celebrated like Cristiano Ronaldo. And I remember that Joel Kaplan did not know what I was doing, but everyone else was laughing. Moving forward to 2023, consistently we've been hitting more than $150,000, $180,000 per month on revenue. Again, this is just revenue, not necessarily net profit. We maintain at 30, 40%, sometimes 45% of profit margins in our agency. And I was able to then grow my company using virtual assistants from Latin America, because at that time I was growing a lot that I realized that I needed help. So my first ever hire was my cousin, and then I started hiring more people and more people. I started hiring people from Colombia, from Mexico, from Ecuador, from Panama. And all of these people were A players, where I realized that I could really make a business that is highly profitable, that I don't necessarily have to hire Americans because it costs way more money. So back in 2022, there was a big opportunity for wholesalers and real estate investors to start hiring Latin Americans as well. Because if I was able to do it, why can't you do it as well? That's when we created Remote Latinos, which is our second agency, which is a recruitment company. Now I run two service agencies. One is marketing and the other one's recruiting. And the next step is now we're building software, where now we're taking both the recruitment and the lead generation company. We're gonna create technology around it so that when we grow, we can have higher valuation. So if we were ever going to sell, we would sell for not just $5 million or $10 million, but we want to sell for $30 million, $100 million, build the next big thing. So if you ever thought that you cannot do it because you don't speak the language, or you have a huge accent, or that you're scared about taking the leap of faith, or that you're driving Uber, or that you're bullied in school, well, I had to go through all of that, guys. If you really focus on self-improvement and going hard in one thing, I think you're gonna be able to be successful, build a seven-figure businesses, and ultimately become a millionaire like I've done, where now I have hit the $1 million profit mark. So if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.